want to find max height.
Yeah.
You probably have a better idea of what we're after now. How do we do max height?
Oh, because we know how the vertical velocity at the maximum height will be 0.
Mm-hmm.
You just work it off there using the
So you're
second
saying
formula.
let what?
Let v y equals 0.
And we're going for?
Error
Solve
equals
for?
2.
Solve for?
So for s.
Not s. If vy equals 0,
sy.
if vy equals 0, firstly we need to get the
Time.
Right? There is no sy in the vy formula. So as before, we were saying you need to get the time first. Okay.
Okay. Which we do know the time.
Well, we know
For
it
now.
after we solve for it.
Okay.
So.
Oh, so it's like kind of, wait, would you say when they ask about flight time is 1 mark? When they ask about, what's the other one? When they ask about range is 2 marks. When they ask about this, it's kind of 3 marks because you need to do.
No, I wouldn't say it's 3 marks. It's 2 marks probably at most.
2 marks because you need to solve for t, which is flight time first, right?
Well, it depends on how generous they want to be the marks, but it's probably like, 2 marks for range and 2 marks for max height. That's kind of it.
Okay. Yeah, but like to say the very least, to calculate the flight time is the easiest, right? Because it doesn't involve anything else.
It's easier than range from, because, yeah. So you would let vy equals 0 and solve for t, okay? And that's that formula there. And then, as you seem to be alluding to, you would then sub the t that you just solved for into sy.
Yeah.
And so let's do that now. So if vy equals 0, we are then going to get v.
Would it be half of the flight time?
Well, let's find out. All right.
Yeah.
So it is going to be v sine theta minus gt. Now, of course, we can then solve for t. Now, we now have the time at the max height.
Yeah.
Equals v sine theta over g. Now, in terms of your question, you were wondering, is this half of max height? So what do you think? Is it half of max height? Time of flight, I should say.
No, it's not.
Or why not? What was our time of flight that we worked out earlier?
I forgot. Oh, it is.
We worked out
we just calculated what's the range. Yeah, okay, yeah.
We worked out that the time of flight was 2v sine theta over g. We don't need that for this question, but to answer your question, we do recognize that this time is going to be half of the time of flight if it is on level ground, okay?
Yeah.
So that is true, but I would be very wary of relying on that relationship for the simple reason that that only works on level ground. If it's not on level ground, again, you can't use this blue relationship here, but that doesn't change the fact that you can still do the steps that we've outlined.
Yeah.
Right? You can still solve for vy equals 0 and find some t, and then sub that t into sy, right?
Yeah.
So let's sub this particular t into your sy now. So what are we going to get?
Because you're because they're right. So for okay, you could do that. Yeah.
So can you simplify that for me?
So yep, sy equals to v squared sine squared theta on g.
Keep going.
Wait, could I write it? Oh, never mind. Minus half g g times about v squared. Wait, it's half times about v squared sine squared on g.
So can you simplify further?
Which is the same as 2v squared sine squared theta minus v squared sine squared theta on 2g.
Which would be?
V squared sine squared theta on 2g.
And that's why max height is v squared sine squared theta over 2g.
Okay, that's the three components. It's like circuits. Circuits. You have four and you have three, right?
I wouldn't really
just
call it. I wouldn't really say that, but I would say that you have to know how to derive all of these, level ground or not. And well, and it would be helpful if for 3-unit math as well, for you to be familiar with, well, imperative to know the steps, but it will also be helpful if you're familiar with the actual formulas as well, because then you're very confident that you get the right answer when they ask you for it as well. But of course, you can't just jump to that. You need to actually show them the steps. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, it's clear so far.
Everything is clear?
Yeah, everything's clear.
Good. All right. Then the next thing we'll look at is probably going to be more conceptual. And we're going to look at them in terms of sort of range and max height and things like that. So we'll do it more conceptually now.